date are we today? We are the 23rd of April 2026, and this week I have been to the plastic surgeon appointment on Monday, on the 20th. She was a lovely lady, and it was actually, appointment went quite quickly, and because she'd read all my notes from the surgeon, it's definitely, the priority is to obviously remove the cancer from the right breast. And there is dimpling. I was thinking about nipple sparing, but no, it's all going to go now. And because I don't want to wake up with one boob, and I want symmetry, I'm choosing bilateral. Plus, on my imaging, there was something in my left breast that picked up on mammogram. And I said I was happy to do a biopsy, and they said, oh no, we won't. And then he said, the surgeon sort of suggested it's like a cyst or whatever. They didn't really know. And so that was another reason why it was like, yeah, no, they're both going. So whatever we do to the right, we'll do to the left. He did draw a picture of like doing a slit, a moon-shaped slit. Obviously even-sided of the nipple and the skin, and I think that will take into consideration all the skin which is under the breast. I'm at about 8 o'clock position on my right breast, if somebody's looking at me, right? And so yeah, so I said, so to me that's, I don't want dog ears, so I said, and I haven't got massive breasts, they're sort of BC cup, so it should be quite tidy with a line, with the scarring, and I've asked for, as symmetrical as possible, aesthetic flat closure, with the intention down the track, once I've healed from, obviously the cancer, found out what the sentinel lymph node biopsy is going to be. To be honest, the sentinel lymph node biopsy has been bothering me more than most things, to be honest, more than the cancer. Just because I know you can get lymphedema, and I know they say it's more if you do like a full clearance, because if you've got cancer in the lymph node, then obviously you want to have a full clearance. But sentinel lymph nodes, basically you have a radioactive tracer injected into your breast, usually at time of surgery. It goes into, that radioactive stuff goes into the, it goes into the, it pulls into whichever breast, whichever lymph node, the main ones, and it can go into one lymph node, it can go into two, can go into 6. I think that was an acorn just flying at us. I've got a friend driving for me, and so I was kind of like, look, I'm happy with 1 or 2 lymph nodes removed, but the surgeon was obviously trying to get a bit more wiggle room, and I'm like, yeah, well, obviously if you've got clinically evidence in the surgery that you need to take more to double check, then yeah, I'll go along with that. But it does bother me with lymphedema, and it does seem that there are women that even with a few removed that can get lymphedema, and I don't want it. Just so it has been a bit of a head stuff for me, so I'm just acknowledging that. So I don't know whether any of you women feel the same way about that. Some surgeons like to use a blue dye with it, but there is like 1 in 200 risk of anaphylaxis, and because my mum's had anaphylactic fit when she was pregnant, and the way I responded to a B12 injection back in October, which actually started this when I started feeling the lump, and then I got diagnosed with ME/CFS. I am obviously, even the anesthesiologist, I want to be on the sensitive side. Any drugs that I do have for surgery, they have to be on the sensitive side of the scale for sensitive systems. And because of the B12, I said, well, why did I respond to the B12? And the anesthesiologist looked into it, and he said, oh, it would have been histamine inducing. Don't ask me all the medical term for that, but I said, right, okay, so let's just avoid all drugs, particularly if they trying to say but particularly if they trigger a mast cell activation, which I don't want, right? But you know, sorry I haven't pre-looked at that, but I just know, no, we'll avoid that. So it's not like there aren't other options. So as far as I'm aware, I believe there's fentanyl, maybe ketamine that will be used, and there was a whole list of other things, and I don't want to get constipated, so I've given them permission to give me something that will make it so that I don't be bound up, because drugs do bind you up, and I want my elimination pathways open after surgery. What else? I'll just show you New Zealand. Can you see the mountains? That's Canterbury, mid-Canterbury of New Zealand. So there you go. It'd be rude not to show you, wouldn't it? This time of year is the beautiful time of year, because we always usually have sunny days, maybe a frosty start. I don't think we had a frost this morning, did we? Yeah, sunny days, and yeah, you see the blue sky. It's beautiful. It's great. It's my favourite time of year, between March and May, to be fair. So the surgeon, I had an appointment with the surgeon, and he went over the details of all the options. Obviously we've looked at removing just the one breast, but I don't want to have to come back and do this again if the left breast, this ends up being something more sinister. To me it's just like, no. And I will say, I am very emotional. The girls have got to go. It's sad. Like, what woman would feel happy about that? I'm looking more calm and centered now, because I've gone through a couple of days of grieving, and you grieve your boobs. You know, they breastfed both of my babies, so I'm grateful to them that they did that. One boob, I nicknamed BB, because it's the bigger boob, just slightly. And my friend helped me name both of them, but I always called the left boob the leaky valve when I was pregnant. It would let down the milk, whereas the bigger boob wouldn't. That's why it got bigger. So the left boob is LV. I thought that was pretty cool. You got to make it a bit of a... I think humour's definitely important in the grieving process, but not before... I haven't shown you the ugly. Sorry, it wasn't that I wasn't going to. I think there might be a little bit of ugly, so I might be able to edit in there, particularly when I had sciatica. So symptoms of, being all over the place, but I'm in a positive headspace. I'm coming to terms with it, and yeah, that's probably enough. What was the other thing? I think surgery will be in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So looking at the surgeon records suggested that it could be like the second week of May 2026. So I'll probably post this after I've gone through the whole process. I'll try and tape it all together and do a little vlog, which I've never done a vlog before, so bear with. What else? I think that's it. Yep, sending you love. You got this, girls. You got it. Bye. I'm gonna have to splice this on. I forgot to say, I am looking at reconstruction. I'm going for aesthetics flat closure initially, and then I'll be on the list to do a deep flap is the intention, providing I get through general anaesthetic, because I've never had general anaesthetic before. And there's another reason why I'm choosing to do that. I'm not keen on expanders or silicone. I was considering for a while to do above the muscle, but because of my skin and my nipple, I don't think it's an option really. Well, it certainly wasn't. It was just suggested that we get rid of the cancer first, right, and goes flat. I will have to wait for the deep flap reconstruction should I continue with that, but you never know. I might like being completely flat. It's a little bit of weight off my back. There probably will be a bit of adjustment with, balance, because I'm obviously getting 2 lumps of lard taken off, so my equilibrium might be a bit out of whack for a bit, but that's to be expected. It is going to be emotional looking at myself for I don't know how long until I get the deep flat, which could be a year, even to 2 years, unless you pay private, which I think if you pay private, we did ask the plastic surgeon what they'd charge. It'd be like 90,000 or something, she suggested, but she was guessing herself, I think, and I was like, holy moly. So, but I guess it's still an option. I don't know how much it would fast track you, but, and yeah, so it basically, I get a tummy tuck at the same time in that surgery. So they use your skin and pouch. You have to be able to pinch an inch, right? And of course, usually we've got a bit of a mum pooch, just a slight little overhang, a little tiny. Mine's not massive, but it's good enough to make breasts, so that's good. 2 breasts. I said, is it enough to do 2 breasts? She's like, yeah. I was like, oh, well, that's good. And obviously, with plastics or silicone, you can choose the size more, but because of my health, I think I was concerned about breast implant illness, because I've seen a lot of women that do explants, and because I've got, chronic fatigue syndrome, or MECFS, whatever you want to call it, I'm coming out of a flare now, I believe. I'm definitely in a stronger position now, because I've been bedridden for months. Like, it's taken me ages to get to more of a normal baseline of what I call, and obviously going through the stress of the biopsy was the 9th of January, and the waiting's been a bit of a killer. Now, I will just say this: I've used ChatGPT for my health and putting everything through to be able to help synchronize my thoughts, and also to make me prepared and to give me more options. I will say this: I feel like I've given myself way more options with using ChatGPT than what's been offered to me or even suggested to me. Most of it I've known through ChatGPT, if I'm honest. Like, I'm not dismissing the health system, but I wasn't given any pack or anything, what to expect, or I think they could tidy up on that, because you're just going to an hour oncology appointment and you're usually focusing on the cancer, and that first appointment I didn't even know anything about sentinel lymph node biopsy. So that, to be honest, that was the biggest thing. And then of course, when they start talking about radioactive traces, anything that's injected to me, I'm like, oh. And so I really have to unpack that. And I've got to the stage where I'm comfortable with the radioactive trace stuff, because they say it's so small an amount. I've obviously ran that through chat, but yeah, in that, there was never really talk about, there was never, in the first appointment, there was never any talk. In fact, even in the second appointment, there was no talk about reconstruction. It was literally, on the appointment with the surgeon, a lumpectomy and radiation, or mastectomy. But to be honest, he focused mostly on a lumpectomy and radiation, and I'm like, I'm not doing radiation for me. If I can avoid it, I will rather choose mastectomy than radiation. And I'm like, you're going to be cutting out a fair chunk of my boob anyway, so it's going to look weird. And it's like, well, what sort of stuffing do you put in that? Otherwise you're going to have this weird. And some women might have, it might be worthwhile. I'm not saying either way, but just the way my brain processes, I'm like, and the fact that they go on about seeds of cancer, and I'm like, just get rid of it. Like, seriously, like, it's not worth it, in my opinion. But yeah, the emotional process of that is a big deal. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a big deal. And I kind of wish I'd maybe filmed myself on Monday night after the 2 appointments, like seeing the plastic, seeing the surgeon again, and the fact that I was like, oh no, I'm agreeing to waking up with no boobs. I was like, am I in the right mind? But I knew, and it was a grieving thing. It was like, oh my goodness, it was very emotional. But clearly, I'm already the other side. I know that it's the right decision for me. I've pondered it for all these months since my biopsy. So that's what all of January, February, or January to Feb to March to April. So we're three and a bit months in of processing. So what you're seeing is 3 and a bit months of that. So all I can suggest, girls, is when you wake up in the middle of the night, scared, going, worried about the cancer growing and it going into your lymph nodes, and why aren't they hurrying up? Why is it taking so long? Apparently, I did listen to a YouTube clip, and a breast surgeon said, look, you actually got a bit more wiggle room than you are. And the fact that the surgeon, can sort of delay because of appointments a bit, if it was in your lymph nodes and more systemic, you would be in as quick as anything. So that's my theory. I think women that come in and they're more invasive, I don't really know until the pathology, so they've got to remove it all, and I want full clearance, so that's another reason why I just remove the whole thing. And the theory behind the bilateral, doing it both the same. I don't need to worry about mammograms on the left breast, because that's the other thing. I don't want to be coming up to, appointments all the time to get, mammograms just on my left breast if I can avoid it. And I want symmetry. So anyway, I'm repeating myself. I think, was that it? Was that what I came on to say? I didn't even talk about it. I actually came on to talk about the deep flap. So yeah, they use your own skin, your belly, but I think even just above the, above the belly button as well, sort of like a big sort of a big moon, and they use, I presume, chop it in half and then magically create mounds. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I haven't been through all that appointments. That'll be after I've had the initial surgery. That's going to be interesting, fascinating more than anything. Today I am going to the hospital to I've got the form for them to take photographs, and I'm like, yeah, document it. Like, they don't put your head in. Document my boobs, what they look like prior to, so we've got something to compare it with. So I'm going to do that today. And side note, I go to a kinesiologist as well. I've done that for years. I muscle test, and talk to my body. I like to be very aware of my body. And he's actually a chiropractor as well, and he helped me with my sciatica, because I walked in, well, I couldn't walk in, I was dragging my right leg. I'd been in an A&E the Saturday prior, or the week before, and anyway, we heard something clonk, and I could walk out of there. I've still got nerve damage into my toes a bit, and I feel a bit more flat-footed on that right side, but it is a bit better. And the other thing, I went to a mole check and checked out all my moles to make sure everything's okay. We might as well do the full cancer clearance, right? And there was a mole on my bum that was sort of misshapen, that had added to, and you could tell that it was, so she's like, let's, while you're in here, let's just put a bit of lidocaine around it, numb the area and cut it out, eh? And I said, yeah, let's do that, eh? So it was just literally, I was in there and in and out in the day. It took a few hours, an hour, not like half an hour, whatever. And drove home, I was fine. And the report came back, it wasn't cancerous, so it's like, yay! That's always the positive thing. So you just take your wins, and we're all going to be different, and some of you women are going to be going through absolute hell and more serious, even than me. Like, I'm grateful really that it's not, well, at this stage it's not as perceived as bad. Like I said, the imaging, there's nothing showing in my lymph nodes, but hey, you don't know until you do, eh? So until until they do the surgery, really. And the other thing, right, because you know how I'm concerned about any injected into me. Maybe the health system won't like me saying this, but I chose not to have the MRI with gadolinium in it. I didn't want that highlighting on my thing. I didn't want that that stuff injected into me because of how I responded to the B12. I was just like, no, I'll do. And I didn't really want a mammogram either, to be fair. But I did a full ultrasound of both breasts, both armpits. In fact, the first time they only did the right breast because that was the one with the lump in. Then they did the biopsy, and then after that, because I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And they're like, well, we need more data. And I'm like, well, but it's not going to change it, is it? Like, you still got to do a mastectomy. So in my head, I'm like, I'm mitigating, you know, overkill. And I think, you know, you've got to listen to your own body of what it will and won't accept. So some women just go fine, but for me it's no. So yeah, that was my process there, and I'm glad I stuck with it. But I did give them a mammogram of both breasts, and that's when they saw something on the left breast. So right, I think I might be repeating myself. Give you another little view of the mountains. Look, signing off. Today is, I've just got home from surgery day. Well, you know, not surgery day, Christchurch. It's still the 23rd of April 2026. And, excuse my messy bench, it's getting done tomorrow. I've hardly been home all week. And I've got a book come in the mail from Toby Morrison. He is CFS Health on YouTube, and it's his latest book, hot off the press. Shout out to Toby. Get your life back. You probably still back. Will it be backwards? It looks like it's backwards on there, but maybe it isn't. A step-by-step recovery guide for chronic fatigue syndrome. Toby Morrison. You're living in a body that no longer feels like your own. Doctors shrug. People don't get it. Some say you're lazy, and the life you used to live feels like a distant memory. You didn't choose this battle, but you're living it every day. The exhaustion, the fear, the isolation, and none of it is fair. You've probably been told just to rest. Just rest. Think positively. Oh my goodness, how many times have I heard that one? Or push through. I do that myself anyway. More times than you can count. And get your life back, the step-by-step recovery guide for chronic fatigue syndrome. CFS recovery specialist and former CFS sufferer Toby Morrison cuts through the noise with a step-by-step guide. So yeah, that's honest, practical, and refreshingly real. No miracle cures, no fluffy promises, just a proven roadmap built from years of helping thousands in over 78 countries reclaim their energy, their identity, and their lives. Inside, you'll learn the skills to get better and start living again. Discover how to build your baseline, which was a big one that I learned from Toby, which was like, oh, finally, which I've been doing for years, to be honest, but it honed in on it, if you know what I mean. Stop the push and crash cycle, which is a big one, once and for all. Reduce symptoms. Reset your nervous system. Progress physically and cognitively without feeling worse. So use this in steps and stages. Integrate nutrition and movement without exhaustion. Set healthy boundaries and manage interpersonal relationships. That's a big one. Rewire unhelpful mental patterns and stabilize your well-being. Or it's even being positive and, you know, when you're feeling absolutely terrible. That's a big one. It's because it messes with your head a bit because you think, oh, am I ever going to recover? Integrate back into life and live with confidence with straight talk, humor, real life stories, guidance for loved ones, and the kind of empathy that only comes from lived experience. Toby shows you that recovery isn't only possible, but it happens all the time. Whether you're newly diagnosed, lost in the chaos or have struggled for years, this book gives you the tools, the support, and the confidence for recovery. It is possible to get your life back. It all begins now. Very good. Thanks, Toby. I shall read that while I'm probably in surgery, to be fair. Probably about the time I'll have time to read it, maybe. While I'm grieving the loss of my boobs. Temporary. So, yeah. That's just my story, separate from cancer, but ME/CFS, I was diagnosed because I had a B12 injection last October because I thought, they say, oh, with chronic fatigue syndrome, you can take B12 my blood pressure instantly dropped, and within days the Epstein-Barr virus was activated. So anyway, and then I felt the lump in my right breast, and then I had the ultrasound appointment just before Christmas, and then they said, yep, you'll need a biopsy. I had the biopsy in January of 2026, and then waited for my first oncology appointment with the surgeon on the 3rd of March, because he was 3 weeks away on holiday, but he's a top surgeon. He's a good surgeon. I tried to push it back, but anyway, and then subsequent appointments, which has got me to up today. So, yeah. Bye. So, if you can see this drawing, so my cancer's here, and so he's going to do like a slit and remove the nipple and that much of the skin. And then, obviously remove with clearance, do a mastectomy. Hopefully it won't be concave on the chest. Hopefully there'll be a bit of fat left. And then he'll just seal it up. So I guess, it might even be, like a smiley face. But I've said to him, whatever he does on this side, he needs to do on this side. So then, because of my ME/CFS, and I've never had general anaesthesia, I wanted to know how I was going to handle the general anaesthetic. And it makes it a faster healing. Plus it means that, he's going to do the sentinel node biopsy and check that the lymph nodes are clear and that no further treatment. I have got hormone positive breast cancer, but it's HER2 negative. I don't know all the ins and outs of, all the different types, but it's a slow growing, but I believe it's like a grade 2. From me feeling the lump, we're pretty much 6 months. The process has felt very slow, which has concerned me, but it hasn't been growing fast. But, what woman wants something growing in them that could, his life potentially down the track, life-threatening. I certainly don't want it in my lymph nodes. So, but, it did start in the breast, so that's a positive sign, so according to the surgeon. But yeah, I got really emotional before. It's like, even very much last night, I had a friend around and I just said, when you made the decision, you've made the right decision. I've come to terms with it, but then there's that other part of you there's 2 parts of you that exist. The other part of you that goes, what woman would choose to chop their tits off? It's just, it's a bit like, it reminds me of the story of, somebody on the boat at sea, and they've got so much stuff and the waves are so fierce that it looks like they'll, possibly sink if they don't remove whatever's on the ship. And so, there becomes a decision point. And yeah. It's like, do you want to live? It's like, of course you'll chop your tits off. Of course you'll chop your tits off. But the emotional side, everything consists in, you can be so positive and still grieve. The fact that you're in this situation, B, it's happening to you, and not that you better, you question how on earth it's happened to you, especially if you're like me. I mean, I've had a healthy diet my whole life. I've kept fit. You've had high integrity towards others and yourself and your family, and you're just like, it's not pity party. It's like, why? Like, you're trying to understand why it happened, and there isn't really a definitive answer. That's the whole thing. Even a friend that came around on Friday night, and she's actually gone through the process. Somebody that I know, she actually had cancer removed, but then they had to go back after the pathology to remove more skin on one breast because she was doing nipple sparing and that. But they had to take the nipple on the cancer side, and so that she had to go in. And then in that time, because I think she got expanders, but they took the expanders out and then opted for deep flap. And so it's pretty much my plan is to go aesthetic flat closure, and then when I've recovered, and because of my ME/CFS, be in the position, I can either choose to stay flat, hopefully with no requirement of further surgeries, hopefully that any excess skin is removed so that there's no dog tag ears and, corrective surgeries and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully one and done. But should I choose to do deep flap, which I know is a high demand, but it is, I just know, I think my body would reject implants, as much as I'm drawn to the idea. Don't get me wrong. I always thought, I'll do, above the muscle implant, direct implant, and I'll wake up with boobs. That held me tight for a good few weeks, if I'm honest, until the realization of the skin having to be removed. But then the thought, I couldn't deal with, I don't think I'm a strong candidate for going straight into deep flap, just because I've not had anesthesia before, and because of my ME/CFS, just wanting to make sure that I am safe in that process, because it's particularly if you're doing both boobs, 8 to 12 hour surgery potentially. I think my friend said hers were done in 9 hours. And she got relatively decent boobs, probably C cup. And yeah. What woman would choose to chop her tits off? But then I think of what Jesus said. If something in your body, if offends you, cut it off. I'm not meaning literally here, but that, I don't know. I'd have to find the scripture, but you're better off, going into life maimed than sort of risk losing yourself fully. If you know what I mean. I mean, it's more of a spiritual concept of probably your nature, should we say. But, there is symbolism there with something in your body that's just for some reason misfired, backfired. The cells have just got a bit carried away. And ironically, the right breast was the breast that always filled up bigger. And that was one when I was breastfeeding that would get red occasionally, and I'd have to massage it in the shower. I never had mastitis per se, but that was my form of mastitis. So, and I just think, and it was sort of in the lower bit. So I think that maybe the cells got a bit, got a bit damaged. And so with me, my body being depleted. I hadn't been going to a kinesiologist for years. I had one up in the North Island. And so, because I like it, because, any supplements that you take, even vitamin C, you can, your body can tell you. I mean, it's not fully clinically. I just know. I think if you're an intuitive woman, you get what I mean, right? I think you've got to listen to your intuition. So I've been taking all my different supplements. But anyway, that's 11 minutes. Holy moly, this is going to make it a really long video vlog. So yeah, sending you love, girls. Mwah. Actually, I've probably got I'll try and keep the name off it. We can see. That was my painting I did when I was 18. So there you go. It came from the UK. My mum sent it over from the UK because I'm in New Zealand now. And it used to hang on her wall for years. She always loved it. So it's now in my hot little hands again. Reunited. So maybe we'll get reunited with ourselves. So sending you love, girls. Hi guys. Stayed the night at a friend's flat in Christchurch, and now we're going to be heading to my operation day in Christchurch. It is the 6th of May 2026, and I think it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. We've actually been up since about 4:15. Had a shower, just been yarning. I actually feel really calm and centered, and I think prayer helps, in your beliefs, and the angels guiding the surgeon's knife and all that. I just feel settled petal. So going for the bilateral mastectomy, and I feel content that it's happening. I think the month is preparation. You've probably done a lot of tears prior to your surgery, and it's all valid. So sending you love. Bye. I'm waiting. I don't even know what time it is. I think it's like 7:45, and I've got my sentinel lymph node, where they put the radioactive tracer in your breast. They're coming to get me, I think, about 8 o'clock, and then massage that in for an hour or an hour and a half, and then they put you in a machine apparently, and then they mark you up, and then that's for the surgeon, and then I'll basically be waiting for surgery, and I'm hoping I'll go straight into surgery. The surgery could be 10 o'clock, but it'll be interesting to see the timing. Otherwise, apparently I'm second on the surgery list, so I'm actually feeling really settled and quite calm, and I've been laughing quite a bit with my friend, my support person, and yeah, got my new dressing gown and slippers on. Quite happy really, and yeah, I think I definitely feel ready. I feel happy that I'm getting the cancer cut out, if I'm honest. I'm just excited. I think I'm actually more excited that finally the prepping and the decisions have been made, and it's just a case of, right, let's do this. So yeah, anyway, I'm sure there'll be emotions at some point. I think the relief of once I've had a surgery, and obviously I'm feeling drugged up, that's probably when the tears will come. But for now, I've mourned my breasts. I've been talking to them. Thank them for feeding my babies. Now it's time for them to leave me. Anyway, girls, bye. So I had the radioactive tracer. You have to massage your boob to get it into the lymph nodes for an hour, on and off, you know. Actually, I've been in there an hour. So you just sort of give it a few pumps. Should have your partner in for this, shouldn't you? If you've got one. So yeah, just massaging it to make sure that hopefully it doesn't go into too many lymph nodes. Just the main one that the cancer would likely go to. Right. Anyway, hopefully it works out alright. I find it all quite amusing actually. I think I've done lots of grieving before this surgery date, like my biopsy was the 9th of January, so I've gone through a lot prior to now. I think I've been prepared. I prepared myself. But I think I'll be in at 1 o'clock and we're coming at 10 o'clock, so I've still got 3 hours before surgery, so I can't eat. I'm just doing little sips of water, tiny little bits, because it's basically nil by mouth, but they said I can have little sips of water. So yeah, okay. Thank you. Did you enjoy it? It's a good job, eh, old Hetty? Oh look, yeah, but the packaging's in here.
Oh, we might list the price on it.
No. Oh, wait, one minute. Oh, that was similar price to what Dylan's was already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
For both sides.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, it's lovely. He does a good job, doesn't he?
The same mean to both.
Yes. Yeah. Hi guys, Caroline here. I'm just showing you. So these are the drains from my breast that you wear here in New Zealand. So yeah, they're just under the breast and around. It is removed. I've got padding on because it just feels like it supports it. You know, it's like a padded blanket. Because I had a bilateral mastectomy. So look, these are so cool. Like somebody, what I like about these in New Zealand here, because I've seen smaller ones, these drains look fast forward if you're a bit squeamish. So I haven't got a lot, and I did surgery, what day are we? We're now the day following surgery, and I had surgery basically 24 hours ago. So I'm looking pretty good, not too much at all. See? These little bags, look, that somebody makes. Look, and then you just gotta, I just gotta push it over there, that, so it's, you know, bending out that side. And then, same for this side, because I said what I did bilateral. And the same. I don't even have to keep emptying them. And then you just, you know, do your jogging, sit down, think what you gotta do. Yeah. Stand up again. You've got them on your shoulders. I actually got pockets. If you've got pockets with, you know, pajama bottoms, but these are actually joggings sort of thing, I can actually fit them in there if I want to. I look like I'm locked and loaded. And then you just come and wash your hands. Come on. So we're on the break out of hospital. It's the 8th of May. I had a shower this morning. It's about 9 o'clock. I'm just waiting at the doors, ready for my friend to take the vehicle, and we're making a break. Got instructions with the drains, so hopefully they won't give me any grief. I think I had 30 mil sort of in both sides, and then I think I had maybe 50 mil yesterday, and apparently you have to have 2 days of 30 mil before the drains are removed, so I'll have them for a few days yet, but that's okay. Sorry, see these cells on my nose that are a new cell. Anyway, so yeah. Hi guys, Caroline here. I'm having a walk around with my bottles. I'm on we're Monday, and I went in for surgery on the last Wednesday at 2 o'clock, I believe. So, however many days that is. I think I'm on the 6th day. Was it? No. Technically 5th day, really. Yeah. So, how am I? Healing really nicely. Pulls when I get off the toilet. That hurts. It's only just started happening, so I'm trying to activate my core a bit more. My left I have still got the drains in, obviously. The left drain hopefully will be removed tomorrow. And yeah, this is au naturel, wandering around. But these little holders, and they're decent sized drains, really, really handy. So yeah. My hair's not been washed in this whole time. I might wash it tonight, because I can actually have a shower now. What have I got to say? Don't know, to be honest. We got through it. The shock of how it happened so quickly in the end, if you know what I mean. My body's adjusting, but it feels like I'm hugging a carcass. I was like trying to pinpoint what the feeling feels like. I feel a bit bare, and it's numb, tender to touch, but it's no pain at all. Yeah, and it feels like I'm hugging a carcass. Yeah, used to a couple of lumps of lard on the front, so my heart feels a bit more exposed. But looking at, whether I do the deep flat reconstruction, it will be in a year or 1 to 2 years. But you never know, it might happen sooner if obviously I want to heal from this first, but I might like being flat. It's not as, I actually feel it quite liberated. I look at my chest and I look like when I was a kid. I look younger probably with not having those 2 lumps of lard on. So psychologically I'm not as, maybe I did the grieving earlier on in the process before I had the mastectomy. You know, I initially, you know, it was focused on obviously the breast that had cancer in it, and you know, to remove the breast, and thought about, you know, just a uniboob. But there was something showing on the mammogram on the left side, and they didn't biopsy. So anyway, I said, no, I need, with my back issues, I need symmetry. And whatever happens on the right needs to happen on the left, in my opinion, for me, for balance. And I didn't feel like my left boob, like, I was happy, but just nothing really to work off. Like, I didn't want asymmetry when they come to reconstruct, and so I figured that if I go a blank canvas, take them both off, I don't have to worry about mammograms, and you know, it gives them a good canvas to work off to do, you know, as symmetrical a job as possible from a deep flap using your tummy. But you know, like I said, I'm early on in the healing from the double mastectomy, and I might choose to stay flat, or I might choose to do the big operation, which is, you know, potentially what, 8 to anywhere between, probably even anywhere between 6 and 10 hours or longer. I haven't got a lot of tissue to move per se. So yeah, case around, just one step at a time. But I'm not as, at night time I feel a little bit emotional, but I think it's more releasing this like my nervous system settling down after the shock of surgery. I mean, it is pretty drastic, isn't it? But I definitely felt that was the right thing to do for me. And I've no regrets doing bilateral. And the surgeon did me so proud, because the line just looks symmetrical on both sides, and what he did to the right, I said, you got to do to the left. So I asked him to start on the right, because to remove the cancer. Also, I didn't know how I was going to respond to general anesthesia, and because I'd reacted to the B12 when my blood pressure dropped, and we worked out that it was possibly histamine inducing drug. So I said, look, let's just avoid all the histamine inducing drugs. I think that includes morphine. So I think it was fentanyl and ketamine and a few others that they used, but I haven't had that full report. But whatever he did, it was uneventful, was the report, and that's what you want. So, and when I will say, when I woke up, I went from not being aware to all of a sudden, like, I'm fully aware, which was quite funny. I didn't have any, well, unless I was talking to the nurse before I was aware that I was talking to the nurse, I would, again, I'd have to talk to them to see if I was talking before I actually was really, I thought I was conscious. So all in all, I felt it was a great success, and the line looks so clean. There's no blood, there's no puckering. It doesn't feel too tight. It's just brilliant. And even the nurse, when she comes, she's like, you know, if I had breast cancer, I'd want to do that. So when a nurse is saying that to you, and she's asking who your surgeon was, you know, you've had a pretty decent job. And I sensed it in myself as soon as I woke up and I looked down, and I think because I would prepare myself and I'd seen what it can look like, but I'd definitely advocate for yourself regarding sending an email of exactly what you're after, because that's like a contract, really. You know, you're stating what you want. I said I don't, you know, mitigate. I don't want dog ears, you know, that you can have, that you can see sometimes. And I didn't have big breasts, like I was a B cup. Sometimes C, depending on how much weight I'd put on. So it sort of, you know, fluctuates with your weight. yeah, when I had a bit more beef, I was definitely in a C cup. But so yeah, definitely advocate for yourself of what you're after and what you accept, even with the sentinel lymph node, and make your decisions and put it in writing and email it to the surgeon or whoever is your commander-in-chief for your oncology team. And because, yeah, that's what they work off, and then there's no ambiguity. And I think that's the biggest thing within the health industry, is you do have a voice and you can advocate for yourself, and I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend you do your own research and use AI for knowledge to gain information, you know. And you know, you don't have to take it word for word, but I think it's pretty darn good, and it will reflect as good as the questions you give it, in my opinion. So I felt like I was fully informed with using AI, ChatGPT. And it helped me keep my nervous system calm through the process, because it was from the first oncology appointment to surgery was pretty much 2 months. So it was the 3rd of March 2026 that I went in for my first oncology appointment with the surgeon. And I had to wait for that appointment, which frustrated me, because that was like at least 3 weeks, but he'd been on holiday, bless him, and he deserves a holiday. So and surgery date was Wednesday the 6th of May 2026. So yeah, like I said, just over 2 months. But from the point of me feeling the lump, I'm just trying to remember, it was early November of 2025 where I first felt a small lump in my right breast. And by the time I'd actually had an ultrasound, which was before Christmas, then I just let it go until after Christmas and New Year, because most of the country shuts down, in my opinion. So and then I got an appointment for the 9th of January. And then that's when it was confirmed, and it hurt like bilio. He actually only needed to take 1 core sample, because he went straight through the middle. And because it gave me such a shock and I started going into a bit of a shake, he said, I think that'll be enough. I said, I'm glad it's enough. And he said, because I said, in your opinion, you know, he said, oh, with the fact that it hurt so much, he said, I think it's cancer. So, you know, and then it's just the process then. And I think the first appointment, the 3rd of March, the bit that flung me the most, because I purposely didn't research too much. All I was focused on was, because of my ME/CFS, where I've been bedridden for a while, I was just focusing on getting my strength back, because I was I'd been come out of a flare, and you know, I was very housebound, and that was probably the worst part of this whole thing. You know, the cancer, to be fair, didn't give me too much grief. It was everything else with my health, with my ME/CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, with having the Epstein-Barr virus activated last October, and that's when I got depleted, and that's when I first felt a lump, and it formed then. I didn't feel it because I'm quite regular checking my breasts. So yeah, we're through to this side of the gate, the fence, and I'm like, thank God for that. Another reason why I wanted to take both off, I thought to myself, I don't want to go through this again. Just take them both, please. I don't want to have to go through this again. So, yeah, that's my update, guys. Sending you so much love. I don't know, you know, actually going flat, because I thought that waking up, look how crusty my hair is. Look, it's like a week not washing hair. So, yeah, I thought, what was I saying? Brains. General anaesthetic still taking effect. I can't remember what to say. You'll have that too. A bit of mind blank. You gotta laugh. Yeah, I thought I would be really bothered about waking up flat, and I think because I'd seen women that, you know, and the different types of, I was just so happy that they looked clean and it looked like a clean line. I'll try and, I think I might add it to the video, my vlog, as my friend says. I'm officially titless. You know, if you can't laugh, you cry. And I've cried plenty throughout this whole journey, guys, don't get me wrong. You know, but, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, negative per se. I was talking about the lymph nodes, wasn't I? I can't even remember where I got to with that. But I did go with the lymph nodes. But that first meeting, I thought the lymph nodes, I was more concerned about that and getting lymphedema. But anyway, I think he took out 1 or 2 lymph nodes. Yeah, my brain's a bit scattered, but then it is at the end of the day. I am probably getting a bit tired. So, and I try and keep awake in the day as much as possible. Is that someone over there? Yeah. So I sleep. I've been sleeping pretty good since I've been at my friend's. So, yeah. What else do I want to say? Sending you love, girls. You got this. You got it. Cancer, breast cancer does not need to define you. Just go through the process. It's going to be hard. Let cry, scream, kick. Do what you got to do. Just don't injure anyone in the process. Or try not to, even verbally. And be kind to yourself. And I just send you so much love. You're still you. Love you. Bye. Tui, come and have a look. Come here. Come here. Come and see. Come and see. Is it scary? Come here. Tui, come here. Tui, come here. I'm showing her my chest. Tui, come here. She's she's scared of it. Right. Here we go, guys. So yeah, there you go. Just as well I got a little bit of a pooch down here, so if I do want to do deep flap I can. They use this bit here, so it's a little bit of an overhang. It's nice and clean, there's no stretch marks, so I'll just shove that up here. Anyway, this is me home and the power's off. Look, turn the light on, no power. We completely forgot about that. And I need a shower, so I can't wait to have a shower and wash my hair and feel human. I've had a shower at the hospital and I've had strip down washes, but yeah, there you go. And I'm free to do what I want any old time. That's how I feel about the drains coming out. Could I show you? I suppose I could. My little flat chest me. And yeah, it's already leaked. That's the right side. That had the most fluid out in 24-hour period. That was still actually at 40 ml per 24 hours, but that was okay because that was the cancer side. And this side, I took that out the drain came out yesterday, and that was down to like 30. So I might end up with a bit of seroma, but I might not. And we'll see. It's going to give this side, because this is the side where I didn't have the lymph nodes removed, so I'm going to be doing my exercises. And I figured if I've got my compression bra on, then it will stop the skin, it'll stick the skin, you know, down so that pockets can't be formed, or prevent it anyway. And keep doing my exercises, my arms, shoulders, get my lymphatic system going. Yeah, the lymph nodes removed on the cancer side. There was only, I think, 2, possibly 3. Won't really know until the report comes back, because the surgeon said there was 1, but he wasn't sure whether it was one long one, because it looked like it could, or just 2 that were attached together. Anyway, I'm free to do what I want any old time. I must increase my best. It's like doing full circle. I've gone back to kiddie time. I swear that's what my chest looks like. I feel like I've de-aged. Those lumps out the way. I can get my pec muscles going now. Anyway, all good.